What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to EP09. Alright, so the 2023 California Pro is officially in the history books, and from the start of the prejudging to the end of the finals, this was a very exciting show to witness, and we have a new champion in California. Ross Flanigan, the owner of Flavor Gang, the bodybuilding sauce boss, is taking home first place and the Olympia qualification. And Ross was absolutely overwhelmed when they called his name. He was losing his mind up there. And you know, going into this show, nobody had Ross in the conversation to really take home that big win, including myself, you guys. I did have Ross in my top 5, absolutely, but at the end of the day, Ross looked really big standing next to these guys in a lineup. He was the most conditioned guy on stage, he presented himself very well, and at the end of the day, that's what got him the victory over O Burton. So let's take a look at our top 5. First off, Slavoj Bednar takes home 5th place, old Slavo, and this is a huge win for Slavo in California. He showed up in condition, as he always does, but he ended up getting past some guys that were really bigger than him with that superior conditioning that he has, and you know, Slavo does have really good shape as well. But for a guy that we see grinding it out on the IFBB Pro League circuit, guys, this was his 3rd show this year alone. So I'm really happy to see him finish in the top 5. Congrats to Slavoj Bednar on 5th place. Stewart Sutherland takes home 4th place at the Cali Pro, and I think Stu did have a good showing, but like I said in my prejudging video, I think Stu tried to play the size game by coming in bigger and fuller, and I think that cost him an amount of conditioning as well as his midsection was just not as tight as what we saw in New York. I don't think there was much difference between his look at prejudging and at the finals. If anything, he was a bit sharper at prejudging, I think. Overall, Stu just looked a little washed out. But now, Stu knows that his calling card is the crazy shape he has and that crisp look that he has when he's really inside-out conditioned. He really didn't look very happy up there at finals either, I will say that. But Stu has nothing to be upset about, honestly. Of course you compete to win, but Stu is only 26 years old. The sky is the limit for this guy of the IFBB. He made a huge statement these last 2 weekends. He's a fantastic bodybuilder, and he was beat by 3 juggernauts in bodybuilding as it is. So we'll see Stu again in the near future, I'm sure, and congrats on 4th place. Now, Sergio Oliva Jr. taking 3rd place in this lineup was what I think most of us expected. We all thought he would be top 2, top 3 here, really. So Sergio's 3rd place finish here in Cali, I think was due to the long flight he had so close to the show and the extended amount of time he stayed in show-ready condition to be ready to travel and compete. And look, that's what I thought going into this show. I'm sure that you guys heard that from me before. And I know Sergio is happy with his placing here in Cali. He put up a pretty lengthy Instagram post after prejudging, saying how he was just happy to be back on stage, doing what he loves to do. But I gotta be honest here with you guys. Sergio has not been living up to the expectations these last few years. It seems like there's always an excuse as to why he misses the mark. And this thing he went through in Dubai was definitely extenuating circumstances, but at what point does it not matter what those circumstances are? Sergio did not show up in Instagram condition here. He was watery on stage, and for the 2nd show in a row, Sergio has been surpassed in the placings by a competitor that is much smaller in stature than him. The last show before this being the 2021 Legion Sports Fest where he lost to Sean Clarita, and now losing to O Burton. So if it's not the size that can carry Sergio to victory, I think it has to be the conditioning. I think he has to finally really nail that conditioning and he'll have a shot at winning a pro show again. But Sergio does need to start delivering, and although 3rd place is a great finish, and I do think he can come back better later this season, you know, more improved, maybe it just comes down to the fact that Sergio is, I don't know, an overrated bodybuilder at this point, honestly. And I don't want to be harsh about that, you guys, but at what point do we see Sergio finally show up on stage? But either way, he pulls out a 3rd place victory here after a very short turnaround to get to this show. And like I said, I do think he can come back improved later this year. As for right now, congrats to Sergio on 3rd place. Now, O Burton taking 2nd place here in California. He was the heavy favorite to come in and win this show. And I gotta say, I was surprised that Ross was as comparable to Tonio as he really was. I think Tonio showed up here in Cali just as good as he was in New York. I think he delivered on all the hype, and he's had a massive boost to his career these last 2 weekends. And although Tonio was well conditioned, I think he could even improve more on that conditioning moving forward. If Tonio was as peeled as Ross was from the back and the front and the legs especially, I think Tonio would have taken home the victory. And conditioning is something that he can improve upon. And you gotta remember, this is Tonio's first round working with his coach Dylan Blum. These last 2 shows were the first shows that they did together, and they pulled out an Olympia qualification and a second place finish here in Cali. I think Tonio is very deserving of the hype that he has going right now. I think he'll be even better at the Olympia, and I think next time he stands next to Ross, that he'll be a whole new bodybuilder again. So yeah, super nice guy too, well deserved. Congrats to Tonio on second place and 2 fantastic showings in as many weekends. So, to our 2023 California Pro Champion, Ross Flanigan, we had an extremely well-conditioned package, an overall balanced physique, a guy who worked really hard on that stage, and a testament to the fact that hard work really does pay off. And Ross really prides himself on that work ethic. I believe this is his 5th year working with his coach, Dom Cardone, and I've heard Ross say for 5 years now, he's done exactly what he was told to do. I've heard Ross say that when he gets a new plan from his coach, there's no discussion, there's no questions, he just simply says, okay, and he executes the plan. Ross is a competitor of extreme intensity. He's a person of extreme intensity. And you know, he's built a world-class physique here. Like I said before, standing next to these guys in a lineup, Ross had more size than I really thought he would, especially the legs. He had way bigger legs than I expected from the front. Great detail in the back, of course. He had absolutely shredded hamstrings and glutes. Great detail in the quads. So Ross pulls off a massive victory here, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do before the Olympia. Anyway, that's it for me in this video, you guys. I hope you all enjoyed the coverage of the Cali Pro. Next up on the IFBB schedule is the Toronto Pro next weekend, where we're going to see Ross on stage again. He'll be battling it out with Ian Valliere, Issam Mustafa, and Mo Shaban. So stay tuned right here. I'll have all the coverage for you guys. Thank you for tuning in to EP09. Be sure to like and subscribe.